Parshiyos, Behar Bechukosai, Shabbos Chazak, Tufshin Pei Gimel. And right, where is this year flying by? We're finishing Seder Vayikra. Next week already we start Bamidbar. Where it's going, I don't know, but the lesson is that we have to understand that we have a lot to learn each and every week. And this week we have a double parsha once again. At the beginning of Parshas Behar, the Torah tells us, Daber el Bnei Yisrael. Tell the Bnei Yisrael, V'amarto alehem, say to them, Ki savoyu el haaretz. When you will come to Eretz Yisrael, Ki savoyu el haaretz asher ani noisein lochem, which Hashem is saying, the land which I give to you, V'shavsa haaretz Shabbos Lashem. Then the land of Eretz Yisrael needs to take a rest. And how does that happen? Sheish shonim tizra sodecha. You could plant, you could plow, you could maintain your vineyard, all of those things for 6 years. Uvashano hashviyis, but in the 7th year, no, 7th year is Shabbos Hashem, the 7th year is Shemitah. So Nesivos Shalom asks a question over here that many Mefarshim really speak about this, and many Mefarshim ask this question. It sounds like from the psukim that we just read at the beginning of Parshas Behar, it sounds like that as soon as they would enter Eretz Yisrael, V'shavsa haaretz Shabbos Hashem, it says when you're going to come to Eretz Yisrael, Ki savoyu el haaretz, when you come to the land that Hashem is giving you, V'shavsa haaretz Shabbos Hashem, that right away we're keeping Shemitah. And in actuality, we know that Shemitah is after 6 years of working the land. Why does the Torah say that when you come into Eretz Yisrael, V'shavsa haaretz Shabbos Hashem, that the land gets to rest, and it's a Shabbos for the land right when they come into Eretz Yisrael? It's a very interesting way of wording it. Let's say by Shabbos, right? Let's look at Shabbos in the Torah. Parshas Vayakel, the Torah tells us, Sheishes Yomim Te'aseh Melacha, for 6 days the work will be done. Uvayoim Hashvi'i Yeh Lochem Shabbos Shabbos Hashem. That for 6 days we work, and then on the 7th day we rest. The 7th day is Shabbos. Why doesn't it say it that way by Shemitah? Why by Shemitah does it say we come to Eretz Yisrael and the land gets a rest? So the Nesivos Shalom tells us, in order to answer this question, he gives us a little bit of an idea, gives us a little bit of a background, something which is a very interesting idea, actually. Nesivos Shalom says that there are mitzvahs in the Torah that the entire mitzvah is really the action that we do physically. There's the mitzvah of tzitzis, there's a mitzvah of mezuzah, there's a mitzvah of maikah, right? All these mitzvahs, the idea and the entire mitzvah is the physical part of it, right? We're wearing tzitzis, we're putting up a mezuzah, we're building a maikah on the roof or over something, right, that's dangerous, right? So that's the entire mitzvah is really something physical, the chiyuv on the person, what the person has to do. But let's look at Shabbos. Shabbos is a bit different. Shabbos is more than that. Aside from the commandments and the different malachos that we need to learn about that we're not supposed to do on Shabbos, there's another chelik of Shabbos. There's another part of Shabbos. And that part of Shabbos is Shabbat Shabbosoin Kodesh Lashem. That besides for the malachos that you're not allowed to do on Shabbos, aside from keeping Shabbos, there is a part of Shabbos where the etzem mitzius of Shabbos, the actual day of Shabbos is one of holiness. And it's a holiness, it's a Kedusha that spreads throughout the entire universe. That today, in the entire universe, today is when it's Shabbos. There's a Metzias, there's a change in the entire world when Shabbos comes around. And it's because of that Kedusha of Shabbos, that real changes take place when Shabbos comes. Like we say in Kegavna, those of us who daven Svard, we say in Kegavna, which is really a Zoya, right, in Parshas Truma, I believe, that when Shabbos comes in, a certain tranquility and a certain change comes over the entire world, where the forces of evil depart from the world and they're replaced with the Kedusha and the peace and the tranquility of Shabbos. And that's something we have to internalize. It's something that we have to feel every Shabbos, and that's totally aside from the things at which we are not allowed to do on Shabbos. So by Shabbos, it's not just the physical, the chiyuvis part of Shabbos. On Shabbos, it's also that the day of Shabbos makes you different, makes the world different. That is an additional thing about Shabbos, a real tangible change. And again, once again, that's besides the laws of Shabbos that we need to know in order not to do malacha. And it's more, Shabbos, we see from here that Shabbos is more than our obligation of the mitzvahs of Shabbos. There's a very interesting Ramak, and the Ramak has a sefer. The sefer is called Shir Kaima, and this is an Ois Nun Beis, if you want to find it and you want to look it up. And he speaks about when it is exactly, we just said something very special about Shabbos. The entire universe changes, everything changes, a certain peace and tranquility and forces of good come to the world when it comes to Shabbos. And if this is the way we're saying, this is what we're saying about Shabbos, when does this exactly happen? Because we know in our world, right, there are many, many different time zones, right? There's the time zones in North America, in South America, in Europe, in Eretz Yisrael, in Australia, the Far East, the Near East, right? There's different times. And in each individual place, when sunset hits in that particular place, that is when Shabbos comes into that part of the world. So when is it that this peace and tranquility takes over the entire world? When does it enter the world? So the Ramak says, and he explains, that Shabbos takes over the world when it is Shabbos Kodesh in Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Yisrael is the barometer we measure. When it's Shabbos in Eretz Yisrael, that's when the world is taken over by this Kedusha, by this Shalom, by this tranquility, by the forces of good take it over. When it's Shabbos, when the sun sets in Eretz Yisrael, the world is now in a state of beauty, is now in a state of Shabbos. The world up there is Mekabel Shabbos, brings in Shabbos when it's Shabbos in Eretz Yisrael. And as Nesivos Shalom said, this explains to us a little bit the Gemara. The Gemara says, Masechta Ksubas, famous Gemara, Daf Kuf Yudam et Beis, Kol Ador b'chutz la'aretz, anyone who lives in chutz la'aretz is doime k'mi she'en lo yalekah. You live in chutz la'aretz, the Gemara says, Maimer Chazal, that's as if you don't have a God. What does that mean? Says in Nesivos Shalom, because we're not following, the whole world changes when it's Shabbos in Eretz Yisrael, it's Shabbos in the Alamas Al Yoinim, you're still walking around, it's still Friday afternoon. And people that live the other way, people that live either east of Eretz Yisrael or around the other side of the world, when it's still Shabbos in Eretz Yisrael, they already have Chol, so it's not Shabbos for them. So Kamish She'en Le'alekah, because we're not following the way Hashem wants, the way the Olamas Ha'Yonim work on Shabbos. So it tells us in Nesivos Shalom something very, very beautiful. Now we just explained the whole concept of what Shabbos is, and this idea of when Shabbos comes into the world and what it means to a Yid. Says in Nesivos Shalom that with our Parsha, the same idea takes place by Shemitah also. And he says, aside from all the halachas, the dinim of Shemitah that we need to know, how we're not allowed to work the land and how we can't plant and how we can't do all those things. There are so many halachas of Shemitah. There is also, besides those halachas, the Torah tells us also it's Shabbos L'Hashem. Just like Shabbos Kodesh, the seventh day of the week, it's Shabbos L'Hashem. There's a Shabbos of a special inherent holiness in the land of Eretz Yisrael that was not there before. The land gets a very special holiness. The Kedusha is actually Chal on the earth itself in Eretz Yisrael. So the Pasuk tells us, Shabbat Shabbosoin yiyeh la'aretz, and then Shabbos L'Hashem, that there is a Kedusha, an inherent Kedusha in the land of Eretz Yisrael. Just like in the day of Shabbos there's a Kedusha in the land of Eretz Yisrael, on the actual earth, the actual physical land of Eretz Yisrael. That Kedusha, says the Nesivos Shalom, that took place as soon as Klal Yisrael came into Eretz Yisrael, and we inherited the land of Eretz Yisrael, that now it belongs to Klal Yisrael, now it belongs to us. Once we did that, there is an inherent Shabbos in Eretz Yisrael. There is inherent Kedusha, Ki savoyu el haaretz. That's why the Torah tells us, Ki savoyu el haaretz, when you come to Eretz Yisrael, not that you're not gonna plow the fields in that first year when you come, but the Torah tells us, Ki savoyu el haaretz asher ani nosein lochem. I'm giving you, Klal Yisrael, Bnei Yisrael, you have this special gift of Eretz Yisrael, just like you have a gift of Shabbos, you have a gift of Eretz Yisrael. Then right away, V'shavsa haaretz Shabbos L'Hashem. Understand that there is a holiness, and the way the Olamas Elyonim will follow Eretz Yisrael. That's what the Torah is telling us over there. That Eretz Yisrael is special. It's different than every other land. And no matter how comfortable you think and how fancy and how beautiful you think you make your house, you place your life in Chutz La'aretz, it is not Eretz Yisrael. You're missing that holiness. That holiness is only in Eretz Yisrael. V'shavsa haaretz Shabbos L'Hashem. Right away. And then after that, the Torah tells us about the other parts of Shemitah. For 6 years, you'll work the land, and then the land has to rest after 6 years. The seventh year, we need to rest. The land of Eretz Yisrael, though, was Kadosh right away. It got this holiness because it's a land that is going to keep Shemitah. It's a land that's going to be different than any other place in the world. Unlike Shabbos Kodesh, with Shabbos Kodesh, we said, the Torah said it differently. You work for 6 days, and then on the seventh day, when Hashem rested, that Shabbos, and we keep that Shabbos forever. But with Shemitah, it worked a little bit different. We came into Eretz Yisrael. The land of Eretz Yisrael became inherently holy. V'shavsa haaretz Shabbos L'Hashem. Right when we come into Eretz Yisrael, and Shabbos worked differently, and even the mitzvah of Yovel was contingent on counting the years, and then the 50th year was Yovel, and that's the lesson of first there is of a Shavsa haaretz Shabbos, and then there's Shabbos L'Hashem. Two different things. The land of Eretz Yisrael gets its holiness. Let's hope that we'll all be back in Eretz Yisrael very soon. We'll be able to keep this, all of us will be able to keep the holy mitzvah of Shemitah, and it should have the effect on us. We should all be Zoicha very soon for keeping Shemitah. We should all be Zoicha to Vitzivisias Berchasi, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give us and shower His brachas upon us. I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful, and beautiful Shabbos Kodesh.